In a small town in Delta State, Nigeria, lived a bright young girl named Divine. She had a best friend named Maureen, and together they shared dreams of a brighter future. Divine and Maureen were both 15 years old and had just completed their junior secondary school, JSS 3. Despite facing challenges, Jennifer had lost her mother at birth, and Maureen was raised solely by her mother. They excelled in their studies. Their hard work paid off when they both received scholarships to attend an all-girls school in Calabar, known for its excellence and high standards. One sunny afternoon, Divine rushed to Maureen's house, waving a letter excitedly. "Maureen, we've been accepted. We're going to Calabar," she exclaimed. Maureen's eyes widened with joy. "Really? This is amazing. Our hard work has paid off." Their families were overjoyed. Divine's father, though a humble man, was proud of his daughter's achievements. Maureen's mother couldn't stop smiling, knowing her daughter's future was bright. The day finally arrived for their journey to Calabar. Divine's father offered to drive them in his old, reliable car. The car had seen better days, but it was their trusted means of transport. As they packed their bags into the car, neighbors gathered to wish them well. "Study hard and make us proud," an elderly woman called out. "We will," Divine and Maureen chorused, waving goodbye. The journey was long, and the roads were bumpy. As they approached Calabar, the car began to sputter. Divine's father frowned, tapping the dashboard. "Come on, old friend, just a little further," he murmured. But the car had other plans. With a final cough, it came to a halt right in front of the school's gate. The engine refused to start again. Students and parents arriving in sleek, shiny cars stared as Divine's father tried to restart the car. Divine and Maureen felt their cheeks burn with embarrassment. "Why did this have to happen here?" Divine whispered, her eyes downcast. Maureen placed a comforting hand on her friend's shoulder. "It's okay, Divine. We're here now. That's what matters." Seeing their struggle, the school security guard approached. "Having some trouble?" he asked kindly. Divine's father sighed. "Yes, the car just gave up." "Let's give it a push," the guard suggested. With the help of the guard and some onlookers, they managed to push the car to a parking spot. Though grateful, Divine and Maureen couldn't shake off the feeling of embarrassment as they noticed other students whispering and pointing. As they walked into the registration hall, Divine couldn't help but notice the difference. Many students wore expensive clothes and had parents who looked important. She felt out of place in her simple dress. Maureen nudged her. "Don't worry about them. We're here because we earned it." Divine nodded, trying to muster a smile. "You're right. Let's focus on why we're here." The principal, a tall woman with a warm smile, welcomed them. "Congratulations on your scholarships. We're proud to have you here." "Thank you, ma'am," they replied in unison. She handed them their schedules and gave a brief orientation. "Remember, hard work and discipline are key here. If you need any help, my door is always open." After registration, they were shown to their hostel. The room was small, with 4 bunk beds accommodating 8 girls. As they unpacked, some of their roommates introduced themselves, while others seemed indifferent. Divine sat on her bed, looking around. "This is going to be our home for the next few years," she said softly. Maureen smiled. "And we're going to make the best of it." As night fell, Divine lay on bed, staring at the ceiling. The day's events replayed in her mind, the excitement, the embarrassment, the new faces. She took a deep breath, determination filling her heart. "We've come this far," she thought. "No matter what challenges come our way, we'll face them head on." With that resolve, she closed her eyes, ready to embrace the new journey ahead. Divine and Maureen quickly immersed themselves in their studies, eager to prove themselves. They attended classes, participated in group discussions, and spent their evenings completing assignments. Despite their dedication, they couldn't help but notice the differences between themselves and some of their peers. Many of the other students came from affluent backgrounds, arriving in luxurious cars and wearing the latest fashions. Divine and Maureen, with their modest means, felt out of place. They often overheard conversations about exotic vacations and expensive gadgets, topics they couldn't relate to. Among their seniors in SS3 was a girl named Tina. She was tall, confident, and came from a wealthy family. Tina had a group of friends who followed her lead, and she was known for her sharp tongue and domineering presence. One afternoon during lunch, Divine and Maureen sat together, sharing a meal they had brought from home. As they chatted quietly, Tina approached their table. "What's that smell?" Tina sneered, wrinkling her nose. "Oh, it's your food. Don't you know the cafeteria has better options?" Divine looked down, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Maureen mustered the courage to respond. "We prefer homemade meals," she said. Tina smirked. "How quaint. Well, try not to stink up the place." With that, she and her friends walked away, laughing. The encounter was just the beginning. Tina seemed to take pleasure in targeting Divine and Maureen. She would make snide remarks about their clothes, mock their accents, and belittle their academic achievements. One evening, as Divine and Maureen returned to their hostel room, they found their belongings scattered across the floor. Their books were torn and their clothes were strewn about. "Who did this?" Maureen exclaimed, tears welling up in her eyes. A fellow student whispered, "I saw Tina and her friends leaving your room earlier." Divine clenched her fists, anger and frustration bubbling inside her. "This has to stop," she uttered, determined to put an end to the bullying. Divine decided to report the incidents. She approached their class teacher after school. "Ma'am, we've been having some problems," Divine began hesitantly. "What kind of problems?" "Another student has been harassing us, Tina. She's been mocking us, and today she vandalized our belongings." The teacher sighed. "Bullying is a serious accusation, Divine. Do you have any proof?" Divine shook her head. "No. Without evidence, it's hard to take action. Try to avoid her and focus on your studies." Feeling dismissed, Divine left the classroom, her heart heavy. She shared the outcome with Maureen, who suggested they speak to the principal. The next day, they nervously stood outside the principal's office. After being called in, Divine explained their situation. The principal listened quietly before responding. "I understand your concerns, but without concrete evidence, it's challenging to address the issue. Keep a low profile, and if anything else happens, document it." Disheartened, Divine and Maureen left the office. They felt trapped, with no one willing to help them. Realizing that Divine and Maureen had sought help, Tina intensified her torment. She would trip them in the hallways, pour water on their bed, and spread rumors about them. One afternoon, Divine, once enthusiastic about her studies, found it hard to concentrate. Maureen became withdrawn, avoiding social interactions. One afternoon, as Divine sat by herself in the school laundry, washing her uniform with tears in her eyes, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Divine." She looked up and saw Precious, the head girl. Precious was known for being one of the most powerful students in the school. She was elegant, intelligent, and always carried herself with confidence. "I know what Tina did to you," Precious said, her voice soft yet firm. "I've been watching everything. I can help you make sure no one ever bullies you again." Divine's eyes lit up. "Really?" she asked, her voice filled with hope. "Yes, but under one condition," Precious replied. "I want you to be my best friend, my one and only best friend." Divine hesitated. She had always been close to Maureen. Was she supposed to forget about her? But the idea of having the head girl as her protector was tempting. Maybe this was her chance to finally be respected. "Okay," she said with a small smile. I'll be your best friend. Precious grinned. Good choice. Precious placed a reassuring hand on Divine's shoulder. Leave it to me. We'll find a way to stop this. For the first time in weeks, Divine felt a glimmer of hope. With Precious's support, perhaps they could put an end to Tina's reign of terror. We need to gather evidence, Precious suggested. Without proof, it's challenging to hold her accountable. Divine nodded. But how do we do that? Leave it to me, Precious replied with a reassuring smile. Precious discreetly set up a small camera in the common areas where Tina's bullying often occurred. Over the next few days, they captured several incidents. Tina pouring water on Jennifer's books, tripping Maureen in the hallway, and making derogatory remarks. With the evidence in hand, Precious approached the principal. Ma'am, I have something important to show you. The principal watched the footage, her expression growing stern. This behavior is unacceptable. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. The following day, the principal called an assembly. Tina was summoned to the front. Tina, the principal began, we have evidence of your bullying behavior. Such actions have no place in our school. Tina's face paled. I'm sorry, she stammered. Apologies are not enough, the principal replied. You will face disciplinary action and attend counseling sessions to address this behavior. As Tina was led away, whispers filled the assembly hall. Divine and Maureen exchanged relieved glances, grateful that justice was served. With Tina's bullying addressed, Divine and Maureen felt a weight lifted off their shoulders. They could now focus on their studies and enjoy their time at school. A few days later, Precious approached Divine again. Your hostel room is too crowded, she said. You're sharing a tiny space with 8 others. Girls, it's uncomfortable, isn't it? Divine nodded. Why don't you move into my room? Precious continued. There are only 3 of us there. You'll have more space, privacy, and most importantly, no one will ever dare to touch you. Devine was stunned. Being invited into Precious's room was a rare privilege. But what about Maureen? She asked. Precious sighed. Maureen can take care of herself. You need to think about yourself for once. After thinking about it, Divine agreed. The next day, the hostel mistress approved the transfer, and Divine moved into Precious's room. Maureen was sad about the move, but she didn't stop Divine. As long as you're happy, she said softly. For the first few nights, everything seemed perfect. The room was bigger, cleaner, and much quieter than her old one. But then something strange happened. One night, as Divine lay on bed, she heard weird sounds coming from the other side of the room. It was soft giggling, whispers, and strange movements. She turned to look, but before she could see anything, Precious hugged her from behind. Shh, she whispered. Just sleep. Divine froze. What's going on? They're just having fun, Precious said with a smirk. Don't worry, you'll understand soon enough. Divine wasn't sure what she meant, but she decided to stay quiet and pretend to sleep. The next day, after classes, Precious asked Divine a strange question. Have you ever been with a man before? She asked casually. Divine's eyes widened. No, I'm only 15. Precious sighed. I was hurt by someone when I was 7, she admitted. It was horrible, but I found a way to feel good without ever going through pain again. Divine was confused. What do you mean? Precious smiled. I can show you. That night, as everyone settled into their beds, Precious pulled out a small black object. This is a toy, she whispered. It makes people feel good. No pain, no problems. She handed it to one of the other girls in the room, who giggled and used it. Divine watched in shock. She had never seen anything like it before. Do you want to try? Precious asked, looking at her expectantly. Divine hesitated. She felt nervous but also curious. If Precious, the most powerful girl in school, said it was okay, then maybe it wasn't bad. Finally, she nodded. Precious turned on the toy, and a soft buzzing sound filled the air. At first, Divine didn't feel much, but then the buzzing grew stronger. Then something went wrong. Sparks flew from the device. "What's happening?" one of the girls screamed. Precious grabbed the toy, trying to turn it off, but it short-circuited. A loud pop echoed through the room, and suddenly, flames erupted. "Fire!" someone shouted. The flames spread quickly, catching onto the bed sheets. Precious screamed as her blanket caught fire. Divine panicked. "Help!" she cried. The hostel mistress and other students rushed in, some pouring water on the flames while others screamed in fear. Finally, the fire was put out, but the room was severely damaged. Precious and one of the other girls had burns on their hands. The next morning, the principal called for an emergency meeting. The school launched an investigation, and Precious was forced to confess that she had brought a forbidden device into the hostel. As a result, she was expelled immediately. Divine pleaded her innocence. "I didn't know about it," she insisted. After careful deliberation, the principal decided not to expel her, but gave her a strict warning. "If anything like this happens again," she said, "you will face serious consequences." Divine was shaken. She had been so eager to fit in that she hadn't realized she was making dangerous choices. She packed her bags and moved back to Maureen's hostel. That night, as Divine sat beside Maureen, she sighed deeply. "I should have stayed with you," she admitted. "I was so focused on being protected that I didn't see the danger in front of me." Maureen smiled. "At least now you know who your real friends are." Divine nodded. "Yeah, and I won't make the same mistake again." The experience changed Divine forever. She learned that not all friendships are good and that some people use power to manipulate others. From that day forward, she stayed true to herself and focused on her studies. And in the end, that was the real key to her success.
Years later, Divine and Maureen graduated at the top of their class. They looked back at their time in school, remembering both the good and bad experiences. Divine had once thought that being close to power would protect her, but she learned that true strength comes from within. And so, as she stepped into the next chapter of her life, she did so with confidence, wisdom, and a heart full of gratitude.